The third greatest comeback this century. Oh my god. Let's get into it. So before we jump straight into it, again, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. That would be absolutely amazing. I also have just dropped these Craig Lasso tees on my Redbubble shop page, whatever you want to call it. There's 25% off at the moment, and there's some premiership merch there as well. So head on over. The link will be down below. Get some tees and support the channel. Would be absolutely amazing. We need to talk about this game. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell happened. Now, in my preview, I said these games are always a danger game for us because you go, okay, we should be beating this team by 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 points, right? And then we should be putting them away. But we know from the past that when we play lower teams, we tend to either play on their level or play underneath their level. And that's exactly what we saw today. It's hard being a Collingwood supporter because I think every Collingwood supporter you would have spoken to in the last week before this game would have said the exact same thing. This is a danger game for us. We you know what's happening. We should be winning by 70 points. This should be a nice percentage booster, and we should have been second on the ladder. Should have been a really good percentage booster. But as it always happens with the 17 other teams, and like I said, this is a grand final. This was a grand final-like game for North Melbourne. Now, before I get into the chat about the game and my thoughts and stuff like that, I do, straight off the bat, because I know how it is, I do want to just praise North Melbourne. That first half was incredible. And yes, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, but yes, it was pathetic from Collingwood, right? But North Melbourne, their best first half since 2013, they scored 86 points, I think. They smashed us for contested possession in that half. Goals from turnovers. They kicked most of their goals from our turnovers. Uncontested mark. They took our game right away from us, and I guess this is why Clarkson is one of the best coaches, or if not the best coach of the 21st century. I don't know why they haven't been playing like this for the rest of the season, and now all of a sudden they win one game, and then they come out. They say that we're gettable, and we prove to be very gettable. And when you're down by 48 points at half time, no matter who it is, you go, fuck, this is nuts. We are in for a long day. And you kind of saw North Melbourne averages 9 goals a game. In the first quarter, they kicked 8 goals. Now, they just ate us up. Like, there's no other term for it. I feel like Collingwood went in thinking this will be easy. We'll get the job done. No problem. We'll go out there. We'll win. And if your mindset in this game is off even 2%, it's just you get done. You get done, and teams prove that time and time and time again. It happened. Was it last year or 2022? I think it was 2022 against West Coast at Marvel. They come out and they beat us because our mentality was that we should win this. We should win this. And then it happened last year against Hawthorn. So we lost to Carlton. And then the Hawthorn game happens. And I remember talking to one of the players just at like a training session. And they said, yeah, it'd be nice to just sit back and get a win against Hawthorn. And we know what happened there. We lose 2 games in a row. And I feel like the same sort of mentality happened today. You could tell that the guys were off by 5% or however you want to sort of quantify it, because tackles weren't getting stuck. We were letting the Kangaroos just run rings around us. Nick Dacos was getting tagged, so he couldn't have his run at it. But the Kangaroos just played out of their skin, and credit to them, they're going to be such a crazy side in the next coming years. And then halftime happens, and I go, we can't, right? We need to kick like 15 goals in the second half, or whatever it was, 12 goals in the second half. Then they come out and they kick a goal from a centre clearance, and they go up by 54 points. And you go, far out. That's it, 54 points. Like, how many teams have come back from 54 points? Not a lot. Absolutely not a lot. And now we have to come back from 9 goals, or virtually 10 goals. Well, that's without them kicking anything, right? So if they kick a few, we've got to kick a few back, and ba 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 ba. And then we started kicking a couple, and we got out to, we chopped it down to like 34 points. Then they kicked 2, so then it went back up to 48 or whatever, 46. And then we chopped it back down to about, I think it was about 37. And then I remember turning to Dad towards the end of that third quarter. I said, if we could just get one here, and I swear on my life, I said to Dad, if we could just get one more here, we might be in with a chance. Then Nick Dacos kicks one, and we're 31 or 30, well, we're 30 points down going into the second quarter, or 31 points down going into the last quarter. And then so that we had kicked a couple in a row, and then the last quarter happens, and we ended up piling, including the third quarter, 7 goals in a row. And then they kicked one with a few minutes left. I go, fuck. And then we kicked one. And then we're holding on for dear life, and we end up winning by a point. It really is the tale of two halves. Kangaroos, incredible in that first half. Collingwood, incredible in that second half. Collingwood in that third half, I even tweeted it. It was pathetic. It was really, really pathetic. And that's not to take any credit away from North Melbourne, because they played unbelievable. And then that second half, they sort of dropped off a little bit. And I guess that's fair enough, because they're a really young side, and they were up by 54 points, so you could kind of drop your head a little bit. And again, mentality thing, if you're off by 2%, the other team pounces, and we're known to pounce on teams like this, and we absolutely just ran over the top of them, and in Collingwood fashion. And of course, we win by a point in a game that we should have won by 60 or 70 points. It should have been a nice percentage booster, but you sometimes, like Craig McRae says, you have to win how you win. You know, you don't always have to win pretty, as long as you take those 4 points. And, you know, I think, in my it was a Herculean effort, right? It was an immense, intense effort. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Did we steal it? It's hard, like, I don't think stealing it is the right word. I don't even know if there is a word to explain what happened, because that first half, we didn't deserve it. It was a Kangaroos win, and it should have been a Kangaroos win probably. I don't think we stole it, though, because we worked our asses off to get to where we were. And, you know, it's funny because Twitter, the cesspool that it is, I said that we are them. Like, it was a 55-point turnaround, we are them. Opposition fans will come at you, and they were coming at me and being like, you beat the 18th team. You beat the 18th team by a point. It's not a reason to celebrate. It's not a reason to celebrate. It's like, okay. But that's, what you're saying there is discrediting what the Kangaroos were able to do in the first half, which was their highest score in 11 years in the first half. They hadn't scored, that was their highest score for the year, and it was half-time. They were 54 points up. And, you know, there'll be some people that'll say, you let the umpires helped you win that. The umpires helped you win that. And, you know, we probably say that too when, you know, things don't go our way and stuff. So that's fair enough, you know. Maybe there were a couple of contentious things. I haven't watched the full replay yet. I was only seeing it from the ground, so I can't really sort of talk about the umpires. But there were a couple that even didn't go our way. So, you know, you don't want to get into semantics too much. But, you know, they'll say, oh, you beat the 18th team. But yeah, it's like we came back from 54 points down. That rarely happens. It's the third biggest turnaround in this century. And a century is 100 years. It was just absolutely incredible, and it's going into the bye as well. And we'll get a couple of players back against the Suns, but the resilience for this team, the belief in this team, the want from this team in the second half, we didn't see that in the first half at all. That first half was the worst first half we've ever played under Craig McRae. And then the second half was probably not the best we've ever played under Craig McRae, but it was a really good performance to keep those goals piling on, to keep that belief. And then you get to, you know, we were 54 points down, and then you get to 31, then you get to like 24, 25, then you get to like, what were we, like 19, and you go, hang on a second, 13, hang on a second, you miss 12, hang on a second, hang on, and it was just bang, 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 bang. And it was an absolute joy to watch. It was absolutely freaking fantastic. And this team always does it to us. They always do it to us. And I wouldn't have it any other way, I don't think. And now we're third on the ladder. So a couple of individual performances. Wasn't a lot in the first half, but Bobby Hill finishes with 5 goals. He's a career best 5 goals. Finishes with probably mark of the year. Sorry, Jamie, but it's probably mark of the year. Nick Dacos, after Will Phillips gets subbed off for some reason, has an absolute blinder. Nick Dacos Where is it? Collected 29 disposals, 18 were contested, 490 meters gained, and 2 goals. We kicked 40 points in the last quarter. It was absolutely incredible. Kruger did well. Wasn't his a game like last week, but he did what he needed to do. I think we shook off the cobwebs of the first half. We kicked 6 goals in that first half, and then we put on 12 goals in the second half to North Melbourne's 5 goals. So even that, and even in saying that, North Melbourne couldn't miss they couldn't miss until they missed in that last quarter because they kicked 19-4. We kicked 18-11. And did we shoot ourselves in the foot? Probably. A very slow start. Lockie Schultz kicked 4 goals. Like, are you like incredible second half? But still, I don't want that to band-aid over the fact that our first half was freaking terrible and shithouse and pathetic, right? So you can have two views of this game. You can have, yes, Collingwood, they were pathetic, they were shit in that first half, and okay, we came good, let's celebrate the win. Yes, it's 1 point against the 18th team, but it was we were down by 54 points. It's a 55-point turnaround. It's pretty much a 10-goal turnaround, thereabouts. So absolutely, incredible for them. We scored 9 of our last 11 second half goals with turnovers from Kangaroos. So that was a flip side to what they did to us. So it was really a tale of two halves. It was mirrored. And I'm very proud of this team. I am very proud of this team. And this week with the bye, we'll do like a live session and we'll talk about like our season so far, and we'll have fan cams and stuff like that. But in the meantime, we're third on the ladder. We started the year 0-3 as reigning premiers. We had 2 draws. We debuted 6 players. We've got an injury list of over a dozen players, and we're third on the ladder. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love this team, even though they hate us with all these defibrillator-needed games. But again, credit to North. They were fantastic, but even more credit to the boys for just pushing through from 54 points down. You have to admire it. You have to love it. And yeah, like the Kangaroos really, if you want me to be really honest as well, which I am always honest, but if you want to be super, super honest, the Kangaroos should have held on to a 54-point lead. Don't complain about and I know we probably do it too, and I know I've probably done it, but don't complain about the umpiring right at the end. If you were up by 9.5 goals, you shouldn't be losing by being up by 9.5 goals. You shouldn't lose it at all. But it is what it is. We win. We go on. It's 2 in a row now. We take on the Suns in 2 weeks. We get a few players back. Hopefully Pendles comes back. Mitchell will come back. DeGoey will come back. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Incredible. Let me know your thoughts down below. Get that merch. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later. Go!